welcome to Leading IT Podcast, episode 76. Our podcast is for Australian IT leaders who want to cut through the noise on AI, cybersecurity, data, cloud, infrastructure, strategy and leadership. I'm your host, Josh Rubens, CEO at Imperial IT, and I'm joined by prominent CIO Tom Layden. And we tackle the fast-moving IT landscape from both sides of the fence, client and vendor, with pragmatic advice you can actually use. In this episode, we're going to review the Microsoft Ignite 2025 event, as well as have our usual end-of-year podcast. Today's episode is dedicated to the victims of the Bondi Beach massacre at the Hanukkah by Sea event on December 14, 2025. We stand with the Jewish community and may the victims' memories be a blessing. G'day, Tom. How are you going?
Josh, yes, no, and all our hearts go out to everyone involved in that awful situation. All we can hope for is that there will change will come from this.
Yes, we can definitely hope. I don't normally comment, but this time I think I felt like
it's worthy of a comment.
Definitely worthy of a comment, and hopefully, yes, it will result in some change.
And on lighter news, English cricket team has not improved, Josh.
No, this was last chance. Third test looks like it's going to be 3-0. And
it's only day 2, my friend.
It's horrible. And you know what they're going to do? They're four down for 80. And the poor English bowlers, they're going to have to come out again at tea in the 39 degrees. They're going to get a break, and Australia's going to grind them into the dust. And it's just ugly. Yep.
Anyway, good century by Carey. That was awesome.
Yes. He should have been out on 72 if Snicko wasn't. There you go.
Technology failure there.
There was. They need an AI agent on that.
All right.
They definitely do.
And Lion coming back in and overtaking Stark in. Sorry, no, not Stark. Overtaking who was it? In greatest number of wickets of all time.
Was it McGrath?
McGrath.
Yes.
It's second to only the great Shane Warne.
Shane Keith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. We're now looking forward to the end of the year. This year's gone by very quickly. It's been full on, and I need a break. How about you, Tom?
100% need a break. It's been a good year. It's been really interesting. Obviously, huge changes for both of us on many levels. But really interesting year for IT as well as AI finally sort of matures, I would say. We'll talk more about this afterwards, I guess. But I think a lot of people listening will be right up to their elbows in getting AI to work for their business. So, fascinating times. Yeah,
definitely. So, news. So, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you would have heard that huge hyperscaler AI investment has led to a RAM hard drive and chipset shortages, and they're anticipating large price increases. So a quote, Jeff Clark, the COO at Dell, said, "The price increases of components is unprecedented," in quotes, and we have not seen costs move at the rate ever in history. And the pressure is seen across various types of memory chips, storage hard drives, and chipsets. So it's gonna hit everything, not just DRAM. Impact will be all categories: notebooks, desktops, servers, storage, network, and wireless equipment. So I've never seen before, Tom, whether it's Lenovo, HP, Dell, having all partner meetings, getting every partner to attend calls and warning of these things. So it's cross industry. So we're already seeing. I think HP already had a 10%. Dell have had one. There's going to be more. So what we're telling our customers is that ETAs are going to be impacted. Price increases of 25 to 30% across the board. And the other one is vendors are already, they're not giving sort of 30 days on pricing. So they're not guaranteeing. Most of them have already reduced to 14 days.
Wow.
So I suppose the point is, if you're out there, have a think about what your plans are for next year. And, you might need to, either let the business know that, if you budgeted X, it's going to be X plus 30%, or do something else, or wait, or whatever else. So, I think that
Yeah.
it's
There's
just
a few
worth being aware of.
problems, isn't there, Josh? Because there's no immediate end in sight. This is not a spike,
No,
I would say. So the ability for the industry to meet demand or scale up from a demand side, from a supply side, is slow. And demand side is not going away, right? So there's so
no,
much money being pumped into AI,
no.
AI infrastructure that this is not a short term spike,
No,
unfortunately.
so it's not like you can let's hold off to 27 and it will change. They're saying that this can go into 27. So
Yeah, right.
yeah, so I think you want to get your order in. You want to get near the front of the queue. If we're going to have COVID style, remember we had 12-month wait times on Cisco gear, and
Yep.
yes, the old toilet paper. Get in early, stock up. Yeah,
And this will boil down to end user devices, won't it? So
the
laptops,
whole the
yeah.
whole thing. So it's not just high end; it's
Routers,
affecting everyone.
network devices, everyone.
Yeah,
Awesome. Merry
yeah.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, IT community. And people who are, skeptical, which we all are, and vendors are trying to get orders in. Good luck with that. You're going to get a smack in the face. So
Right.
it is what it is. So that's my first bit of good web news. What have you got for us, Tom?
Well, only one for me today. The metaverse. We talked about this a few years ago.
Yeah.
They finally pulled the plug on it. Mark Zuckerberg has pulled the plug on it after
Really?
spending $70 billion on it. There's about 900 full stop 900 users on this platform.
Right.
$70 billion down the drain. They've cut it. The share price went up on news that they were cutting it. It's going to be like back onto life support. And I'd have to say it has to be one of the biggest money wastes in IT history ever. Surely $70 billion for 900 users. It's unbelievable.
I think I may have. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I
We
felt
said it.
I didn't think it was going to take off.
We called it.
Think it. Nah, we did. You did as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. We did.
Course,
Go back to the podcast.
Go back to the tape. Yes, yes. I'm not surprised. I mean, yeah.
Well, but I'll tell you what this talks about. This talks about that sort of lack of board governance or control at all of these firms. Like these, one individual can burn through shareholder money like nothing else on a whim, essentially. So yeah, it's interesting. Saying that, Meta will go on because they own the customer data, don't they? They WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, blah blah blah. They own that data. They're not going to bat an eyelid on this.
No.
They're going into AI heavily, and they'll probably be quite successful because they own the data. So
they are. Yeah.
Don't shed a tear for Mark, Josh.
Yep. Maybe it's the events of this week, but my next bit of news is also not good news. Microsoft is increasing M365 pricing from July 1, 2026.
Right.
Not all bad news though, so I will. They are giving something in return. So
Okay.
I will quickly. So the main things that are changing, sorts of interest. Business Premium is not going up, which a lot of our customers have. M365 E3 is going up 10%, and E5 is going up 5%. So it's not massive. The one that is increasing a lot is the frontline one is going up maybe 25%. So it's a bit, but it's also going to hit not for profit. But in line with the percentages. So if it's going up 5, so that's going to be July 1, 2026, so effective. So if you renew before then, you won't be hit until the following year.
Right. Okay.
So if your renewal's prior to that. But what they are giving, they giveth and they taketh away. So they are adding in some stuff for no extra cost. So they are including Defender for Office 365 Plan 1 in M365 E3 or O365 E3, which you would normally have to buy as an add-on, a Defender add-on. They're also doing phishing, which is all the email phishing protection. Yep. So that may be where customers might be using a third-party email security tool. So they may be able to get rid of that. And then also into M365 E3 and M365 E5, they are including Intune Remote Help, Intune Advanced Analytics, and Intune Plan 2. So to explain before people, shout at their phone. Yes, you get basic Intune with E3 and E5, but all these features were add-ons. You had to buy as an add-on. So remote help is a big one because a lot of customers have other tools for remote help. So now you don't need to buy that. And then also Intune Plan 2 includes Tunnel for MAM, which is mobile application management. So that's where you won't need to have a separate VPN client if your mobile apps need to access on-prem applications. Specialty device management, so be able to manage things like, IoT devices, VR headsets, smart screens, conference room devices. So that's built in, and firmware over the air updates. So that's going to be added in for free in E3 and E5. And E5, you'll get all of that plus endpoint privilege management, enterprise application management, and Microsoft Cloud PKI, which is a big thing that's been holding customers keeping a hybrid Active Directory server, which will enable them to move to the cloud. So there is quite a bit there, and none of those are cheap.
Yeah, only if you take advantage of those things, right? So,
Correct.
So it's kind of, thanks Microsoft. So basically they're saying, okay, get rid of all those peripheral tools and come into the Microsoft fold.
Yes.
Come in, and then it won't be so bad.
Well, that is their we know that's their strategy anyway. So they're giving a lot of stuff for free. I mean, that remote help. There's so many third-party tools out there.
You'll save money if you turn it off, right?
Yeah.
And then you
What's the main one? What's the main one called? There's one that's really well known. So you can go in and remote support, take over a user's device. Like there are heaps of tools out there, so you could piss that one off and just if you're already using Intune. So there's a lot of value there if you could take it on. So
yes. Okay, all right. So you've been forewarned. You're 6 months warning, basically, Josh. Thank you for the warning.
Yes, you have. It's warning, so don't blame us. All right. So Ignite. So it was a pretty just to think about the event. So what's your sort of overall takeaway from the announcements?
So I'm really impressed by what's coming up. No surprise. So the roadmap looks really impressive. I feel like they're really starting to understand what AI really means for a business. So it's not just a toy on the side. It's really coming deep into an organization, particularly an organization that's drunk the Microsoft Kool-Aid. So if you've got Dynamics and blah, 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 and SharePoint and you're smashing that, then you are on the train with Microsoft, and it's going to be exciting. That was my initial. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, so I initially felt okay. There's not a heap of real feature techie updates as there has been in the past, but a lot of the stuff around the IQ layer that was the more sessions I've watched and the more. I'm really excited about that. So I think Microsoft are pretty smart there, and the stuff around governance, I think, and security. So Microsoft are really focused on the data layer, governance, and security, because that is their, that's their differentiator. Because all the other vendors, every other software vendor is going to be bringing their own agent, but Microsoft, again, we've always said the UI for AI be that central point for everything, and that's where Microsoft. Well, you can use the other stuff, but will be your central point for your data, for your governance, for your security. And I think they've really, with these announcements, which you're going to discuss, I think they've really, they're really concrete. They're making that more concrete. I think is
yes, it's a maturity, right, of their offerings. Kind of like there's enormous benefits from a compliance data control point of view that anyone who has to deal with SharePoint mess and sprawl, the document sprawl. There's a lot to start to really consider and solve those problems, and even better, get on top of it so you can actually get AI to be useful.
All right, so should we get in? So the first one, so the first thing is the intelligence stack.
Yeah.
So which is Foundry IQ, Fabric IQ, and Work IQ. So I'm going to explain what that means. So it's a unified intelligence layer. So across Microsoft's data, application, and productivity stack. So Work IQ is more focused on a personal user. So we'll look at Tom's If you're in M365, we'll look at your preferences, your habits, your workflows, look at your emails, your documents, your team conversations, your SharePoint files. So it'll enable M365 Copilot to understand you, your role, and how you do things. So it'll make it from a generic assistant tool into a personalized productivity engine that understands how you work. So that's Work IQ. So Foundry IQ is more across broader organizational documents, emails, and content. So we all know Foundry was called Azure Foundry. Now they've renamed it Foundry. So Azure Foundry is the Azure platform for building custom AI agents, which has, you can go in, it's more full code rather than the Copilot Studio, which is low code. So it's more full code, building custom agents, out of 2,000 models, choose your data, and really doing, advanced AI tooling. So having an intelligence layer there where it's having a knowledge graph across all your data, your organizational data. So there's personal M365 data, organizational M365 data, and then Fabric IQ is more across Microsoft Fabric, looking at all your business data, your unstructured data, and your applications data. So what does that mean? So the problem that we're solving here is, if you're looking, if all you can see in data is rows and columns and ones and zeros, it's very, very difficult, and there's no context or understanding of the knowledge in the way that a user sees knowledge. So someone in finance, if they look at rows and columns, they're not going to get a lot out of it. They understand accounts receivable, accounts payable, customers. That's how users and the business understands knowledge. Ones and zeros, bits and bytes makes no sense to a business user. So what Microsoft have done with this IQ layer is adding what's called a semantic layer, and not confusing that with a security vendor Symantec. It's a semantic layer on top of your data, which enables you to, they've announced a tool called Ontology, which is a low-code tool where business users can go in and they can build out workflows and structure their data on top of the actual raw data, so that AI and business users can interact with it in the way that they understand. Is that
yes, it's interesting. So they're bringing in the that sort of corporate knowledge, understanding on top of the raw data behind the scenes to provide some context and usefulness to the end user. So I want to see this in action. I am, but I mean, it sounds great.
I can show you the demos. I've looked at the Session Watcher demos, so it looks really good. So it's about meaning and context of data. So just to explain a bit more, because I had to go and understand it myself. So it's about what data represents, its relationships and real world significance, enabling machines and people to interpret consistently for better analysis, AI, and decision making. So it assigns things like meaning and context, so a real word meaning. Relationships, so how different data elements connect to each other. How different people, like, for example, resolving definitions. So, for example, a customer will mean something different as an entity to sales versus finance. So what it means is both people and AI agents can interact with the data in a way that's much more simpler for them to understand. So if you're building an AI agent across a raw data set, so even if you have it in the data lake and you've got that gold layer, you're not going to get as much value as once you have it you've built that semantic layer, this IQ layer, which is what Microsoft are doing it on top of, which is going to really, accelerate the value that you get from AI, and also really broaden out the use cases that you can use it for. So going back to the announcement, so you've got this Work IQ, so that'll do it on its own, or at a personal layer. So that will enhance the value you get from M365 Copilot. Foundry IQ across organizational data, and then Fabric IQ across your operational and analytic and data. So once you've got that set up, they're all connected to each other. So the agents you build on Foundry will connect to your Fabric data and your personal data. So think about how much more you're going to be able to do with it if the AI and the people can won't need to talk to a data scientist.
That's right. In theory, yeah. I mean,
Yes, obviously everything's got to be set up correctly, and you need, Siva, who was on a couple, our data experts to set this up for you. But the potential is I think exciting.
it is exciting, and I'd like to see it unravelled and explained to end users so they can actually understand what the hell does this mean conceptually. Yeah, it sounds really good. A lot of our listeners will be sort of yelling out saying, "Hang on, we've already got all these systems in place. We've got all these tools to do all that, right? But those tools are rigid."
Who's got how many of them have got a data lake? How many of them? I'm not finding many.
I think what you'll say is, hang on, we've got an ERP system that tells the user what to do. We've got a Power BI reports that does this. We've got, dashboards. We've got intranets. But the problem is,
it's not central. It's not centralized.
That's right. They're all static tools that can't bend. They're not dynamic. They don't change with the business. They kind of set in their ways, and the users have to adopt around those tools to get shit done. Right? Yeah. Excuse my language, but this is where the world starts to change and says, well, maybe we don't need this rigid process, these rigid applications in the way we used to think we did.
Yeah.
So that's kind of mind-blowing, actually.
Yeah. So it's the agents and people together interacting with data in a way that the business understands it, which is going to really, accelerate the value you get, not just from AI agents, but from business intelligence and having that centralized. So I think, unfortunately, most organisations in the mid-market do not have this in place. It does require a hygiene, getting your data lake, getting things set up correctly, getting your purview and your governance. You need to get that in place, and then. But I think, I don't know about you, Tom, but I would have thought it would be easier to sell that to a CFO than we need a data lake.
Oh, 100%.
CFOs like, what do we need a data lake? But an intelligence layer that I can really get live, interactions with my data and what's going on. That I need, but I don't need a data lake. I don't want a data lake. What's a lake? I've got a lake, go to the beach. So I think, I feel like that would be easier for businesses to understand why they need to invest in.
The
fundamentals.
And I'm sure, as you know, the ability for a CFO to actually understand what this means is they're still miles away.
They have to show them. Yeah,
exactly. I think poor people like us kind of get it, but for the business people, they have no idea. But it's coming. It's real. This stuff is real. It is coming. It's special.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can say, hey, what do the last 3 months look like? And you get a nice graph and it's live and the data's up to date. You're not looking at some sort of Excel sheet that's based on last month's data.
Yeah.
Like, surely CFOs will be getting that. I would think.
That's right. 100%. And they go, oh, well, that report's good, but it hasn't got this other bit in it. And I've got to go over here. And it kind of brings it all together in the context the CFO actually understands.
Yeah.
That's
or CEO or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or business line manager or whoever needs that data, right? Yeah.
So for me, those three were the biggest and most exciting announcements from the whole conference. And I encourage listeners to, if you want to reach out to me, I've got the decks, but you can jump on and have a look at a couple of the sessions. I think that's going to be transformational for the year ahead. The next one was the Agent 365. You would have seen this, the control, the A365. So it's a centralized platform to manage and secure AI agents at scale. So you can register your agents for identity, granular access controls, full integration with Defender, Entra, and Purview. So it addresses the challenge of governing agents with the estimates of there being 1.3 billion agents by 2028, Tom.
Yep. They'll be the new Excel spreadsheets, right? People they won't do an Excel spreadsheet. They'll do an agent to solve some problem. They used to do in Excel. So this really sort of reinforces that role of AI as a steward, the IT person, IT manager, head of IT, CIO as the steward of AI.
Yeah.
The person who oversees and orchestrates all these tools coming together for the business. So there's a lot in that for the IT person, I thought.
Yeah, this management challenge, Microsoft have really, I think, done a good job. Yeah, they've really done a good job. And they understand their place.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to be, the fastest innovator around particular AI applications, but this stuff there, that's there. I think that makes sense. Do you want to come in or do you want me to keep going?
No, you keep going. I've got a few points that you probably cover anyway, but you keep going.
Yep. Okay. So talking about the price increases. So on the good news front, Microsoft is including Security Copilot in M365 E5.
Okay.
Well, hang on a sec. No, that is exciting. Oh, well, hang on. Let me explain it to you. Let's see if I can
E5.
convince you. I know it's $1,000 a user a year or something, but
Come on, sell it to me.
okay. They're provide so the I've been trying to get some costings for Security Copilots for customers, and there's an arcane pricing model based on SCU, which is Security Compute Units.
Oh, love of
God. I know. All right. So what you're going to get?
Why?
I know. You're going to get 400 security compute units per month for every 1,000 E5 licenses that you have. I know you're shaking your head. So obviously, if you have 500, it'll be 200. So it democratizes AI-powered security operations for threat detection, investigation, and response. The actual monetary value. So I've done a calculation here. So if you get 400 security compute units per month, an hourly rate, the standard hourly rate for one SCU is $4 USD an hour. So if you get it for a month, the value is $2,920 a month. You get 400. So you're getting $1,168,000 a month of SCU's value bundled in US.
Right. But I don't know what do these do.
All right. I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you. I'm getting there before you turn off. All right. So it powers the AI capabilities of Security Copilot to use so security analysts can use natural language prompts to investigate security incidents, correlate threat intelligence, and automate routine tasks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So I need less security analysts. Is that what you're telling me?
Correct.
Well, they can do more. Well, basically, they can do more with what they're doing. Right.
So they've announced 4 new Security Copilot agents. So one is a phishing triage agent.
Yeah.
So to autonomously handle user-submitted phishing reports. So it'll say your agent caught up to 6.5 times more malicious emails than a human alone. So it can do things threat hunting, threat intelligence, and predictive shielding. So there is something there. So Microsoft are giving it to you, and it's a way to make your security team more efficient.
Yeah, right.
Particularly looking at signals, right? I mean, AI is really good at looking at signals, cutting down false positives if you can train, the agent as you want it. Because, humans were really bad at looking at things and going, that doesn't look right. Yeah, so if you can do this and cut down the noise of the false positives coming out of your security systems using these agents, then I think there is value there.
Yeah, I mean, this is great for mid-market, right? Because you've got the poor infrastructure guy or the one security guy has to do all these jobs.
Correct.
So it does help out in that space. Explaining how to pay for it through those units is a nightmare.
Oh, well, now they're saying, well, buy E5.
Buy E5.
Yeah. All right. So they're giving it to you for E5, E3. Yeah. So there's, but you can do pay as you go, and it depends on, it depends on what you use. So
it is what it is. You know what? That's what it is. They just get your head around it.
Yeah. They're just trying to make more people buy E5. So that's the. All right. Over to you. What have you got?
I was looking at the agent stuff, the agent into the ERP world, and the Power Apps specifically. So it looks like they're doing a whole bunch of work around, I guess, that sort of whole trend of this year around the vibe coding space. Josh, I don't know if you've been following that, but
I have.
That is phenomenal. Honestly, to be able to direct a system to actually start coding for you, it's a security guy's nightmare, by the way. But the amount of stuff people can do now by just talking to one of those AI coding platforms is phenomenal. Frankly, I think it's one of the biggest game-changing things I've ever seen. And now to bring that into the Power Apps space is really good, because it means that it's now working within the secure, controlled environment as opposed to the cursors or the windsurfers or whatever kind of on the side. So I think that's one thing you really want to get your head around, because you're going to have to start shutting down users doing their own vibe coding somewhere else and bring them back into the platform.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That whole vibe coding thing with Power Apps now that's their primary go-to-market now. They've sort of almost given up on the full sort of software development on Power Apps, and they're pushing this vibe coding. So definitely having a secure vibe coding platform that's integrated
Yep.
And also, users, companies looking to migrate legacy applications
Yes.
so that AI can use them with, the whole Microsoft Dataverse which you can tie directly into your Fabric and having that unified view and, all those
productivity
sorts of
gains. The productivity gains are huge in this space. And I think if anyone's going to if you can do anything over the summer holidays, I'd look into this because I think it could really change your business, frankly.
Yeah. And going back to the Fabric stuff, so I've mentioned Fabric IQ. There's no additional licensing cost from a Fabric point of view, by the way, so it's bundled in with your Fabric. The other stuff with Fabric was they announced a connection with SAP Cloud.
Yeah.
So bi-directional zero copy sharing between SAP Business Data Cloud and Fabric.
Cool.
So you can do analytics with your SAP stuff without moving it out of SAP. Same with Oracle.
Yeah.
Same with Snowflake. Same with Databricks. So that's pretty.
Yeah, good.
That's pretty huge. SQL Server 2025 was released. They've released Fabric Data Agents with unstructured data support, so you can now connect Fabric into your unstructured data. So Fabric is now not just for your structured data; you can also connect it to SharePoint PDFs because that was always, you had to treat them separately. Now you can do, both across unstructured data and structured data, and these new agents, right? And then the other one is real-time intelligence. So I think I mentioned this last year, but this real-time intelligence is where you're looking at live streaming data from your applications or your platforms. And then now having agents being able to do things. So, if you're in a manufacturing environment or a power or a medical environment and you can see that, this medical device is hitting a particular threshold, instead of waiting for it to fail, you can use real-time intelligence to see, okay, this is overheating or it's about to fail. I'm going to, do a Power Automate email to someone. I'm going to write something in an application and then it's going to get someone to come out and repair it rather than waiting for it to fail. So this whole real-time intelligence piece with agents on top of it in conjunction with people is really, I think that's
fascinating.
There's some really, maybe not if you're in a consulting environment, but if you're in, manufacturing, retail, medical, like that's going to be, that's game changing.
I mean,
and they release some. Go on.
So I was going to say, with anyone who's got IoT is part of their business. This stuff is, you've got to get your head around it because this really brings IoT to life.
And they released something called anomaly detection. So you can just look at your data, and as soon as there's an anomaly, it'll let you know, and you can either do something or do something and wait for a human approval. Like this,
triggers work.
This is game changing. And now this stuff's been around for a while, but customers would have to pay SAP, and there would have to be
hard
some
work,
complex,
and it's hard,
some complex ETL layer, and now Microsoft are democratizing it and making it relatively cheap and relatively idiot proof. Using the real-time intelligence in Fabric. So apparently Fabric now is used by 80% of the Fortune 500 and by 28,000 companies, and 47% of those 28,000 are using real-time intelligence.
Yeah, right.
So it is really taking off. So that was
pretty cool.
That was. Now back to you, Tom.
The document DB thing. Did you see that one, Josh? So
I did. I looked at it. I went past it. Please explain to me why I should be excited about that one.
Well, I think this is the bridge between unstructured and structured data. So I think if you're existing, particularly in a knowledge-based organization, if you've got truckloads of documents or professional services type firms, even medical research type firms where you've got a bunch of big detail, this looks good. I think it's a maturity of existing tools that they've had out previously, but it does promise to turn unstructured data into something that is actually manageable without having to spend, ages building up those databases and going through documents. So this Azure Document DB, I thought it was definitely worth a look.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought my overall sort of takeaway of this is that as IT professionals, IT managers, you really need to start to understand how to play AI. You need to understand the AI playbook, if you like, to understand how AI, where it's going to be used by the vendor Microsoft, or where you can apply AI into your own use cases. And I think this is where sort of Microsoft is making it a lot easier to enable AI within your organization,
Yeah.
but you've got to play within their sort of guidelines and boundaries. They're pretty good, so there's no problem with that, but you kind of need to know that. You need to
Yeah.
intrinsically know how Microsoft expects you to
Yeah.
use AI. So I think there's a bit of just research or just getting your head around how that works within your organization.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're not going to bring you the use cases. I mean, they'll throw
No,
stuff out, but
you've got
it's
the
on.
use cases. Yeah.
It's like, well, yes, the
Yeah.
onus is on the customers to work with the business to understand the use
Yeah.
cases.
It's got the use cases, and then you've got the machine that is Microsoft. Or how do you bring that to bear?
Yeah.
And that's a new way of thinking, almost.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is a new way of thinking, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's quite exciting and hard and daunting at the same time.
Yes. All right, I got a couple more things. There's, from a security point of view, there's unified posture management, and we've talked about the in Defender, but also in Purview, data security posture management. So on both ends, from the Defender side, it's more from a security point of view, looking at agents across your whole environment. So pro code, low code, and all that security posture. And then from a Purview is more from a data point of view. So looking at your your AI Copilot usage, whether it's Copilot or Claude or third-party tools, from a data point of view and a compliance point of view in one dashboard. So you can see who's using, cloud tools, who's using, paid tools, who's cutting and pasting things they shouldn't into prompts, and gives you the ability to see it and also control it. So that's again a fundamental. Purview with Fabric are other fundamentals. We had mentioned this, but this was now go live, was where the free version of Copilot Chat from Microsoft for M365 is getting Outlook, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint agents. So being able to work with your data tools without having to buy the expensive one.
Have you used that with PowerPoint?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right, is it? I thought that was the gap. I haven't had much success with the PowerPoint one yet.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
It'll get there.
And they've released for SMBs, so for organisations who use, Business Premium or Business Standard, who've got less than 300 users. Up till now, you've had to buy the full price M365 Copilot. So the Microsoft, they've released one called Copilot Business, which is, instead of $30 USD a month, is 21 USD a month. So it's 30% cheaper.
Yeah, it's better.
There's a sales development agent they announced for Dynamics 365 and Salesforce. So it's an autonomous sales agent that can research prospects, craft your outreach, automatically follow up. So it'll connect into D365 and Salesforce. So that's pretty good. And also MCP servers now for Dynamics 365 and Power Platform, which will unlock a lot of the things that you were talking about. So yeah, that was the main, those were the main things for me. Again, with the, understanding Microsoft's strategic bet is that AI effectiveness depends not just on data volume, but on having that deep semantic understanding of the business operations and helping you establish your semantic foundation to build out these AI agents with Fabric IQ, Work IQ, Foundry IQ, with the security through Purview, data security posture management, with Agent 365 for governance. As we were saying, Microsoft are really, I think, running ahead of everyone else from this perspective.
It's interesting. It's also it's AI is less of a niche specialty now, isn't it? So it's becoming part of the mainstream offering. It's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, that is good. Do you want to tell me the score now? Before we go.
No, I haven't looked.
No, good. Let's not. But another year gone, Tom. What a year it's been, hey?
Mate, it's been good. It's been good for the podcast, I would say, Josh. I think we've had some really good guests on, and I definitely want to thank everyone who's been on our podcast. I think we've got a good mix of CIOs and experts in.
Yeah.
Experts mainly employed by you, Josh, but that's okay. I think that's worked out well, and hopefully in the new year we'll continue with that theme.
Yep.
The feedback we've got has been really positive. I just want to thank everyone who listens to our podcast and then tells us, what they like and what they don't like. That's okay.
Yeah.
But the feedback's been really helpful.
Yeah, and also I'd like to echo that. Thank you, Tom, and thanks for our listeners and for the positive feedback, the loyalty. I'm always surprised. People go, "Yeah, listen to your podcast, really enjoy." I'm like, "Oh, okay," because sometimes it feels like you're talking into the ether and you don't know if anyone's listening. But also, I want to wish everyone, a happy, healthy, safe, successful Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is you're celebrating, or an end of year break. And we will be back, Tom.
We will be back.
Bigger and better in 2026.
Season 7 of
Yes. Can you believe it? We're nearly at Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones level. 8 seasons.
Well, why not, Josh? What else do we need to do with our time?
Correct.
Nothing.
Correct.
Exactly.
We've got nothing else on.
It's been good.
All right, mate. Thanks, Tom. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Josh. See you later.